So let's talk about progress with what's going on against chemtrails. You have some information to report. Don't use any names or anything like that. But what news do you have?
In Rhode Island, in the United States of America, they have proposed legislation to prohibit geoengineering. Mm-hmm. And so there is a link you can go to and offer your perspective, either saying yes, that you want to prohibit chemtrails in the sky, or you could do nothing, or you could say, no, I think it's great, keep going. Mm-hmm. I mean, who would do that if they were educated, if they had done the research?
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, we have an incredibly unprecedented opportunity as a species to stop what's going on in the skies.
Yeah, the chemtrails.
Stop aircraft from spraying chemical cocktails all over us, our food, our water, and polluting the air we breathe.
Right.
So who's ready to step up to the plate?
Well, I mean, many of us are, but we need more. So the chemical cocktail that you're talking about, in Canada, that would be considered a crime against humanity. And let me just define a crime against humanity in Canadian law. And it's pretty basic. Crime against humanity means murder, extermination, enslavement, deportation, imprisonment, torture, sexual violence, persecution, or any other inhumane act or omission that is committed against any civilian population, etc., etc., etc. So an inhumane act or omission that is committed against any civilian population. These chemtrails is an inhumane act. So we have pretty much the law on our side in terms of the law should be protecting us. So was it Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Okay, so for Canada, for example, those who are failing to act in omission could be charged with crime against humanity. In the United States, what would that be?
Misprision of felony.
Right, and misprision.
Where someone, although many of the states have not enacted it, the bottom line is we need to. If this is on the books, it needs to be used. And in the U.S., what would happen is if you're made aware of a crime, then you have a responsibility to take action to stop it.
Right, you have to report it to a judge or other person in civil or military authority. And if not, then that will be a misprision of felony. It's actually 18 U.S. Code 4 for the United States. So we need people to understand that there's an opportunity here in Rhode Island, and there's also an opportunity in Ontario, Canada, where if you go to executivereasoningmedia.com/it'sover, you will see that a number of police chiefs, deputy police chiefs, superintendents, and inspectors have been notified of these crimes and have done nothing. So that would be a crime against humanity against those persons.
Where in Ontario?
Well, in the Toronto area.
Okay.
Large population center. So we asked the world to focus on Ontario and Rhode Island.
We need to do something. It's called Legis, Legiscan. It says bringing people to the process. And I put it in a blog and said, more importantly than bringing people to the process is people responding to the process. If people would just understand how important it is for us to speak peacefully and respectfully for our rights, because silence is permission.
Right.
When people are silent, the government interprets that it's okay to go ahead. And that's a con. That's the biggest con of man. Our consent, or not speaking up, is consent, and it's a con because you're not educated in what's really going on in the planet. You're educated by a mainstream media who withhold, distort, bury, and deny the facts.
Right.
And they use mind control techniques so that you'll think what we're talking about on this video is so bizarre that the government and that people in authority, positions of authority, would allow such things to go on in the sky and have us eat genetically modified food and put fluoride in the water, which is a poison.
Yes.
Or vaccinate people with vaccines that they know are harmful, lethal in some instances.
Right.
So the bottom line is, that's part of the plan, is what's going on is so bizarre that we don't care what you do. Tell people, they'll think you're nuts.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. We're called conspiracy theorists. So if we're nuts, then why is Canada introducing legislation called Bill C-51, which, if it's enacted, is going to thwart the opportunity for people who are activists that speak the truth? They'll either put you for medical examination because your mind isn't working, functioning properly, or they'll arrest you because you're a terrorist.
Yeah. So
I mean, why would that be going on if people who are... Why would they do that to people who tell the truth if the truth wasn't damaging to them?
Right, and here is one truth. The sun is required for life.
Totally.
By blocking the sun, photosynthesis is being affected in plants and algae. That would mean that oxygen is not produced by plants nor sugar, and we need sugar in our plants. That's what our plants are all about, is sugar in some form or other. And also the vitamin D production in our skin, that will be affected also. So those are both required for health. The sun is required and necessary for health. And so everybody is truly responsible to protect life, and so are the police. The police are responsible to protect life. And so what we need is the world to focus on Ontario and Rhode Island and get people there with guns and badges and authority figures to actually make this or consider this a crime in progress and ask those with guns and badges to stop this today. And if you have resistance within your organization of where you work, if you have a gun and a badge, then work privately with others to protect the public and protect your own family. You have a self-interest here as well, not just your paycheck.
And you know what? I've just opened a blog I did, The Real Story on Distinguished Vitamin D. Vitamin D regulates your cells, systems, and organs. It's in a class by itself. It turns on and off genes. It's a very basic function which distinguishes it from all other vitamins. The sun, where there is less sun, there is more cancer, flu, and autism. As a minimum, vitamin D boosts your immune system, causing peptides that kill bacteria and viruses, which means you don't need antibiotics because they'll never be antibiotic resistant and without side effects. So vitamin D also strengthens our teeth. So it's a natural and suitable replacement for fluoride, which is toxic in drinking water and in toothpaste.
Yes. Okay. I think that sums about up what we need to say. We ask the world to focus on Ontario and Rhode Island and make this a crime in progress and involve the police to protect the public at large, because we need everybody to protect life. And written in the Constitution, by the Supreme Court, it is the duty of a police officer to protect life, all life. And
these are two opportunities to preserve life.
Yeah, and
our planet.
And the Ontario Police Services Act, Section 42, subsection 3, states that a police officer can act as a constable at common law. At common law, meaning if there's a problem, there's somebody going in to stop whatever the trouble is. And spraying chemicals over a population is an inhumane act on a population. Therefore, it is a crime in progress.
And when people take responsibility, then they can live free without all of this government regulation. That's the reason we have regulation, is because people don't take responsibility. We need to step up to self-ownership and take responsibility for the energy we put out into the world, and we need to work together to make the planet livable for all.
And that means police officers too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Police officers.
Government people, a lot of people work in the government, they have no idea what's going on. Mm-hmm. They're just good people earning a living to be able to put food on the table and pay their bills.
Yep.
So thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, let's hope we get the world to focus on Ontario and Rhode Island and crime in progress and police acting at common law. Great. Thank you so much.